Hi there, Jeanne Cregan with this week's video message. I was recently reminded of a story that happened to me in the second grade. I went to Catholic school and we had a project where we needed to do something related to the saint for which we were named. And I distinctly remember my teacher telling me that I in fact wasn't named for a saint, that the derivative of my name Jeanne would be Saint Joan of Arc, and gave me resources on which to do my project on Saint Joan of Arc. And I remember thinking that Saint Joan of Arc's life didn't seem very applicable to me, and it felt more like I was learning about history than it did something that I could live out as a 7 or 8-year-old. I was recently thinking about this as I was traveling through the Parish Center. I don't know how many of you are aware that we have 4 rooms in the Parish Center dedicated to saints. Dedicated to saints who lived extraordinary lives of prayer in circumstances in which they were placed in the world. Their lives, their interior lives of prayer and relationship with Jesus resulted in great outward signs of service and love for others. For example, St. Carlo Acutis, the first millennial saint, was a teenager. He was average, he played video games, and he hung out with his friends, and he did things that average teenagers do. But he had such a deep faith and relationship with Jesus that he also had a prayer life that led him to create a website that spread the Catholic faith around the world. Another example would be St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. She was a wife and a mom who lived out those vocations within a situation of great loss. She experienced many hardships in her life. She not only lived out those vocations of wife and mother, but went on to found a religious order and schools that now still educate generations in faith, even to this day. Both of these saints had deep lives of prayer, which led them to do extraordinary things in the name of God, but not in extraordinary lives. They weren't necessarily living in extraordinary circumstances. They just were so rooted in their own faith that they lived out bringing God's light into the world in their current circumstances at the current time. It was more about being holy, wasn't about being perfect. It was more about saying yes to God in one small step at a time. How might you or I grow in holiness? When we step into holiness right here, right now, and see how God can use our very ordinary lives in extraordinary ways. Imagine what could happen when we share our light with the world from whatever circumstances we come. I hope that that's a challenge for you as it's a challenge for me. Have a great day.